There, welcome to Embrace Our Calling. I'm Marcus Mock, and today I'm really excited to start this special series about finding your calling. Now, before we dive in, I want to share something that is very personal with you. Now, when I was 15 years old, I had this strong feeling that, God was calling me to be a pastor. So I thought to myself, okay, I'll be a teacher first, and that will be a good stepping stone into full-time ministry next time. I mean, pastors teach, right? So teaching seems like the perfect preparation for me. But something interesting happened along the way. You see, I attended this course at Biblical Graduate School of Theology, BGST, and there was this lecturer called Paul Stevens, and the course was about vocation, work, and ministry. And that course completely changed how I saw calling. And I realized that my work as a teacher wasn't just a stepping stone, it was in itself a full time ministry. You see, God wasn't calling me to wait until I become a pastor to serve Him. He was calling me to serve Him right where I was, in the classroom. I met so many young adults who are struggling with this same thing. They are working in the banks, in tech companies, or they are starting their own businesses. But they feel that they are somehow settling for less than what is God's best for them. Why? Because they are not in full-time ministry. But let me tell you something that might change your perspective. Every Christian is in full-time ministry. Yes, you heard that right. Whether you are crunching numbers in an office, whether you are coding software, or you are teaching in a classroom, if you are doing it for the glory of God, that is ministry. And this brings me to two big misconceptions that I keep seeing among young professionals. The first misconception is this. You see, we focus so much on finding our specific role or career, or what we call the secondary calling, that we miss something way more important, and that is our primary calling. Now, if you remember, we talked about the primary calling in our first episode. Now, let me break this down for you simply. Our primary calling, what is it? Our primary calling is God Himself calling us into a relationship with Him. It's God Himself calling us into a relationship with Him. That's our primary calling. It is more about who we are, or should I say, whose we are, than about what we are called to do. So that is primary calling. Now, the second one is secondary calling. Now, secondary calling is about our roles, and that is our work, our family responsibilities, our community service. These are all the ways that we live out our primary calling in this world. So think of it like this. Now, before you are a banker, a teacher, an engineer, or an entrepreneur, you are first and foremost a child of God. And that is your primary calling. Everything else flows from there. The second misconception is that we are always looking for that perfect fit, that perfect calling, God's ultimate calling for us somewhere in the future. But we miss out on how God is calling us right now in our current jobs and our relationship. And you know what's interesting? There's this great story about William Wilberforce. Now, if you know about William Wilberforce, he was a politician in Britain when Britain was still having this slave trade. So William Wilberforce was a politician. And when he came to know Christ, when he became a Christian, he thought that he needed to leave his job in the parliament and to become a minister of the gospel. But then his mentor, John Newton, now, if you know John Newton, it is the same guy that wrote Amazing Grace. John Newton told him something that is very profound. And he suggested that maybe God has placed him in Parliament for a purpose. So William Wilberforce listened to the advice of John Newton, and he stayed in politics, and he ended up leading the movement that abolished the slave trade in Britain. Wow, that is really something that changed the world. So imagine if William Wilberforce became a pastor, a minister at that time, then maybe this would not have happened and the world will be a very different place. So here's what I learned. God's call isn't usually like a dramatic, burning bush moment. It is more like a scavenger hunt, where we find clues along the way. And those clues, they are often right in front of us. It is in our daily work, our relationship, our current circumstances. So over the next 4 episodes, we are going to explore what we call the 4 A's of calling. That is ability, which is what you are naturally good at; affinity, which is what you truly love; awareness, and that is what burden that you carry for others; and finally, access, and that is what opportunities are open to you right now. Now, before we dive into all that next episode, I want you to think about something. Where are you already serving God right now? Maybe you thought that it was just a job, but what if it is actually part of God's calling for you? As Os Guinness beautifully puts it, deep in our heart, we all want to find and fulfill a purpose bigger than ourselves. And only such a larger purpose can inspire us to heights that we know we could never reach on our own. So remember, your calling isn't just about finding the perfect job. It is about recognizing that God has already called you, first to Himself, and then to serve others wherever He has placed you right now. Next episode, we will explore our first A, ability, and discover how your natural gifts point towards your calling. You won't want to miss it. This is Marcus Mock, and you're listening to Embrace Our Calling. If this episode resonates with you, please click the subscribe button or follow me on embraceourcalling.com, and you can find more resources to help you in your calling journey. Thank you very much for joining me today. Go forth and embrace your calling.